What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 8 of my Total War Warhammer 3 Tyrion Immortal Empire's Expanded campaign. So as we saw last time, we have joined the world, as in opened the vision of everything that is watery everywhere, and have given or gotten sight of almost all factions. Obviously there are going to be some landlocked ones that we can't see, but otherwise we can see what's going on. The Empire, as usual, is not in the greatest of shape, with the Northern Empire, by the looks of it, pretty much destroyed, or at the very least heavily beat up by chaos and by the undead here. We also have, by the looks of it, Sylvania not doing too bad with 7 armies, though admittedly they are not doing nearly as well as they could be, and they are still at war with the Imperials there. Kislev is doing pretty okay though, with a solid 11 settlements at rank 5, and have surprisingly not gotten overrun, and good for them. Anyway, other than that, of course, we were able to fight some great battles, taking on Be'lakor with Tyrion, and also Wulfric the Wanderer, again with Tyrion, plus a nice little debut for Alistar the White Lion and his White Line, War Line, and Ranger army. Though, since we were able to confederate Chrace and now have Coral, I do wonder whether we will give him the Rangers instead. I'm just going to have to think about it. Anyway, I believe I promised a second episode if we reach the engagement threshold, and here that second episode is, as promised. Now let's get started. Tyrion, I do believe you're first. You're heading to the Isle of Wight, so I'm willing to bet these guys are going to run from you, although who knows? Maybe they won't. Noble has leveled up with 3 points at that. Haven't still decided what to do there. We will want Horsemaster. Let's get hard to hit for now, but we will get Horsemaster soonish. Alright, you are on the Eagle, so you have a tendency to land and be surrounded by things. You are going to land at the Isle of Wight. Oh, wow. We could completely ignore that and go directly for Conquata if we wanted. Ooh, but it's almost a tier 4. You know what? I'd rather let it go to tier 4, because then we can capture to tier 3 instead of tier 2. It's a yellow territory, and I'd like to take advantage of that. This is honestly, by the looks of it, not super worth fighting. We'll probably take some damage, but at the same time, this is kind of meh. I'm going to auto-resolve this. Considering that Wulfric the Wanderer has declared war on us, we're going to be fighting a lot of Norskins, so I wouldn't be too concerned about this. At least not at this time. As for levels, you now, Caradhran, have your main line, which is great. You don't have Fueled by Flame, mind you, but there's other stuff you'll get. We should probably get Horsemaster for you as well, so, well, you know what, let's start with training. Although the other noble already has it maxed out, so it's not the biggest of deals. I still haven't decided what to do with this handmaiden, because she's not going to stay in this army, so we'll go for Retinue Valet, because it's obviously universally useful, and we could always use more items. The mage here, we can still get some use out of We Are the Elite. You know what, let's get a point in Comet of Cassandora. There may be situations where we'll want to pop it off. You noble, I was just looking at, and for some reason... Alright, haven't decided on those. Let's start going through Horsemaster then. And then Tyrion. What do we have here? Heart of the Flame is going to be needed. Right now the basic troops are, well, frankly, everybody in your army other than the Eagle Claw is basically maxed out. Let's go for Heart of the Flame. It's not too many units. We'll go for Silver Torrent next, because we will want to buff up the Exalted Silver... Wait, actually, I don't see them here. So Silver Helms are in... Where are Silver Helms? Ah, Silver Helms are part of a movable force. Alright, well that works for us. Then there's no need for Silver Torrent. That's great, okay. We will still have to probably get favorable winds though, because we are going to get some Exalted Gateguard in his army, since he does buff them fairly considerably with a +8 melee defense, which is pretty solid. Yeah. Alrighty. Other than that, I believe you're good to stay here, heal up a little bit, and then head directly for Conquata, damaged though you may be. I do wonder if we will still have the Sword of Khaine over that turn. We'll see. You too, Colin. Go here. You know what, maybe in regular stance. You're gonna follow Be'lakor. I don't care if you suffer a little bit of attrition. I just in case Be'lakor stupidly decides to attack, I'd rather he attack Alistar than Colin for obvious reasons. But we'll see. Kidrill. Originally, we were going to land here, but now since a convoy is on the way, I think we're going to bypass Morgar for now. We're going to pick up this island here in the Middle Sea after healing here in the Shifting Isles, and then grab Bordelot instead.
You may approach.
And perhaps save Bretonnia. Plus, this might allow us to get vision of the Wood Elves a little bit sooner, since we didn't get the trade agreement with Carcassonne as yet. Nice to see the Fae Enchantress alive, though, after having a pretty solid campaign with her. Anyway, Leia Quinn. You do not need to build anything out. Yes, you do. I lied. Build up the colonnade here. Then head briefly through Toranlek. You know what? Go right here to Toranlek. Wait, is there anything to build? There is not, at least not this turn. Therefore, go here to the Shrine of Kurnus. Actually, that's a question. We could probably wait on Torquerale. There is this, and then there's this, but if we send Alariel around, and then perhaps that's the better way to go. I guess then the question is going to be, do we send Alariel around this way through the Shrine of Loic, or do we send her up north? Oh, actually, speaking of this place, go into Banish Corruption for the additional growth. It would be faster to go this way, but traveling through this would allow us to visit more locations, and would include Toranlek, wherein we could build stuff as well.
Defender of the Everqueen.
Frankly, both have their charms, I guess I would say. Alright, you know what? I'd go through this direction, I think, then. To Port Elistor, please. Like so. Then we'll build up the colonnade and max it out over the next turn. Frankly, a decent number of the colonnades will eventually be replaced by elven embassies, I think. I'm not 100% sure. But eventually, especially if we start saving factions and then getting big trade agreements with all of them, we will start getting more money out of trade than we will out of building income directly, at which point we will want more trade tariffs to rely upon. Anyway, Leia Quinn, in that light, we are ignoring Toranlek for now, at least until we get here with our... Well, you know what, go right outside the Shrine of Kurnus. If we're gonna wait for the Everqueen anyway... Oh, you know what I should have done? I should have ended the turn at the White Tower instead. Yeah, all good. Actually, you know what? Let's get you a Herald of Math. Oh, you already have a Herald of Mathon. Let's get you a Herald of Mathon. We should have a couple to spare. Yes. In theory, every lord should want one. Do you have one, Billionaire? You do not. Herald of Mathon for you. Corhill. Herald of Mathon for you. And who else? Who else? Do you, Arathon, have a Herald of Mathon? You do not. Get a Herald of Mathon. You're a Sea Helm. You want one. Originally, he wasn't a Sea Helm, but the Sea Helms get the Eagle buffs, so that's what I went with. And then K-Drill is fine. Alright, the rest of this looks good to me. Sarah is here mostly to transfer stuff. We can build the Hunting Lodge and the Colonnade here, and we can also double check if there's anything else to build up. Kathik is the only place. I think we'll wait on the Salt Pans. Yeah, just wait. It's not the biggest of deals, I think. Getting it to tier 3 gets us preserved seafood. Let's actually see what preserved seafood does, though. Actually, while we're here. Awakening the Ancient Ones, great weapons. Plus 10 armor piercing damage for white lions. You know what? Let's do that. And we'll also want to grab one of these while we're at it. In a bit. At any rate. Anyway, what I wanted to see was what the salt thing does. Gem Cutters, Atelier, Kilns, Dye Maker, Salt Distillery. Growth plus 20 faction-wide. Ooh, okay, never mind. We want that ASAP. Salt pans immediately, please. Alright, and then I guess we'll build up toward Drenil here. We won't be able to reach Toranlek in this turn, unfortunately. And we'll be just short of Evershale as well. Oh well. Let's see what else we've got here. Hanarmara. You could reach Hagri fairly quickly like this in 3 turns, but by going through the sea, you could pick up 2 or 3 islands. 1 materials at sea, and you will have paid for yourself more than paid for yourself. On the other hand, I suppose if we take Hag Grief, we could also move around. And not giving them a chance to build up may also be in our favor. Yeah, fine, go this way then. Go this way, we can travel through our allied territories, which will be reasonably safe, while we keep hoping that these guys actually build up Valzano. I can give them 2 more turns. If they don't level it up, I'll just do the trade, since we don't need to land here anymore, and this place isn't collecting money anyway. Alright, Billionaire, you are going to reinforce here to get the additional little bit of XP, while Arathon kills off this little faction. This little rebellious army, like so. Quick little auto resolve. I suppose we could have taken the Really? Wow. Why would this eagle... Okay, whatever. Maybe the game assumed that it fought the enemy's eagles. We did get Van Braces of Defense, though, which is a very nice find. And we will take all the money. Like so. Van Braces of Defense. I'm gonna give this to Tyrion for now, because I keep putting him in stupidly dangerous situations, and actually, maybe... A moment. Gillant and Toran, like, and... Oh, wow, we're barely healing here. Unsurprisingly, mind you. You could reach a Shrine of Kurnos and heal much more. Go here. And that means you won't be able to reach him, unfortunately, but it's okay, we can do it next turn. There we go, that's much better. Although, still not what I would call good. You're gonna need a noble... Wait, you guys do have replenished troops, so let's get those 2 points in there. Beautiful. Alright, that's much, much better. And you still have to stay in march stance? You do. Okay, the rest of you are good. I do believe we still have the hero to move. Corel is waiting for whatever, to see what this Norscan army does, which was here. Actually, not sure it's there anymore. But just in case it is, stay there for now. Trillian, you need steel tech, so you're going to Grey Rock Point. We'll need more tech thieves, but we don't have our first tier 4 settlement as yet. And then who is Solandiel? Steel tech, good. Who are you? Oh, you're a new Mist Mage, yes. Spell resistance, missile resistance, and barrier hit points, eh? There's a number of armies where you could be useful, but I suppose for now, we'll put you into Coral's army just so that he has a caster. Meaning, funnily enough, I guess what we're going to do is pop you back into this army, and then move you to trade with Coral. Like so. And we will swap out Eagle Claws, as this army isn't really about that. And then, frankly, we don't need you to disband. Alrighty, and then you can be disbanded as well. We may bring you back at some point, but for now, Master Strategist and Bowmaster and 1 point in the A are going to be reset. He's rank 10, so it's not so bad. Like so. Alright.
Where to?
And I do believe we're ready to end the turn, unless I'm mistaken. Lovely. Diplomacy, just to check real quick if any new trade agreements have popped up. I don't deny... Yes, they have. Huh. Sometimes it does that when you, well, obviously, close the game and then open it again, so, yeah. What do we have here? Who do we want to trade with? Itza is a decent option. They have 11 settlements, pretty solid. And it may be a nice thing to gain vision of Illustria. The other thing is if we do Carcassonne... Oh, are they still unwilling? Oh, what the heck? Carcassonne, that is so rude. Alright, well, I guess Itza or Heshwatla then. Get more out of Heshwatla right now. Let's do Heshwatla. And non-aggression pact with you, I guess, since you don't want to do the defensive alliance as yet, but I'm willing to bet that they eventually will. Like so. Lovely. That's a happy lizard. And we still have a few more trade agreements available. Agents of the Moon are, unfortunately, by the looks of it, pretty much dead. Order of Lore Masters we will trade with, but they're not as critical, let's say. Other High Elves also do want to trade. Maybe in northern provinces? There's also Ghost of Pawash. Though I do wonder whether they'll survive. Now, I'm going to do this. I have a distinct feeling that the northern provinces are not surviving this. The Empire and Cathay are both in trouble, but who knows. Oh, and we can still do the Ghost of Pawash. Alright, fine, let's do that. Oh, wow, they're willing to go straight into defensive alliance. I think I didn't do it last time because I assumed they'd get weaker, but at the same time, it looks like Kairos is pressing them anyway. So, let's see what's going on out here. We're not going to take their money. They have no armies. Looks like Oshiotla's main stack was destroyed by Kairos's. Alright. Well, as soon as we have another army to spare, as soon as we can look outside of Ulthuan, then we'll send somebody down there. It'll be a bit, mind you, so let's hope that they survive. Maybe if they're getting pressed real hard, then we will make an exception, go down there a little bit quicker. Lanesha giggle. Anyway, more trade agreements means more money coming in per turn, which is lovely. We have a nice nest egg, but this is being kept for various high-tier buildings to be constructed, which will all, because we have a lot of landmarks, which will all be quite expensive. Anyway, skip, and... Wait. Defensive Alliance... Heshwatla... Wait, not Heshwatla. Ghost of Pawash. Oh, we can actually build this thing. Let's do Godless Crater. Like so. Salamanders would probably be working nicely with some of our armies. And, you know, Lizardmen armies with the High Elven armies, Lizardmen units at the very least with High Elven armies does make sense. And I think Salamanders could work very nicely for an army with Phoenixes and Phoenix Guard and whatever other fire stuff we put in there, so. It would be nice to maintain friendly relations with the lizards, and this is one of the reasons why it feels like it's better to go for the Unifier rather than whatever the opposite Retribution thing. Unity over Retribution, non-aggression pact? Yeah, sure, buddy. Keep your money. Yeah, you're gonna need it. As I was saying, it feels better to go Unity over Retribution because by going Retribution, you're effectively crippling your chances of getting allied units. And between Lizardmen, Wood Elves, and Cathay, and Kislev, there are a lot of units that fit nicely with the High Elven roster. And there's even potential for some Dark Elf units if we can find an isolated little Dark Elf and minor faction after taking Naggarond for the plus 100 relationship with them. That plus the either 50 or 100 that you get from Unifier would most likely mean it's possible. We'll see, of course. And surprisingly, no further attacks. Okay. And, ooh, it's between White Lions and Archers? Yeah, we're going for the White Lions, obviously. I think there was a blurb last time, or maybe there wasn't, and maybe I read it at the end. Ah, there's a blurb now. The Battle of Finneval Plain. Oh, that's an important one. Yeah, we're definitely giving this a read. Great weapons, yes, and happy populace. Oh, only local province, unfortunately, in the Shrine of Khaine. That's unheard of. But fair enough. You, Everqueen, are gonna land in Evershale, I guess, or sit in Evershale for a little bit. I thought you couldn't reach it, but it looks like you can. Wait. Before you leave this place, build up the promenade. Still a little bit expensive, but just build it. And then on here, wherein you will also build another promenade at Tor Sarwar. Growth here is just horrendous. I probably should have built the growth structure rather than the promenade, but I figured that the additional growth would counteract it because we get growth out of high public order, so, you know? Anyway, rather than... Bellacore. Alrighty, you, Alistar, see if you can't hunt him down. He's gonna run, but it depends on if he can run far enough away. I should have probably leveled you, but at the same time he has a garbage army, so hopefully it won't matter. Don't run too far. Is that another Bell of the Ball? That's another Bell of the Ball. Beautiful. Not worth our time fighting. I mean, it is Bellacore himself, but let's face it, he doesn't even have a half stack. And he's no Ingmir convoy to face a full stack with a half stack. So, let's go for ransom captives. And there's the Bell of the Ball. We can also, I was hoping to march stance, but I guess we'll channel here and heal as best we can. Nobles should have replenished troops, or at least we'll start putting points to that afterwards. Alright, and then Alistar. Didn't even get a level out of that. Go through Master Strategist, buddy. Keep pumping up those White Lions. Anyway, you, Colin, need to get to Tyrion, but you need to do it in such a way where you won't die. I do... Looks like Yvrus is going to Norska. Yeah, that makes sense. Is that another Tzeentchian faction? God damn it. Alright, Cabal. Declare war. Oh, they're gonna sail down here. Oh, it's Egrim Van Horstman. Yeah, declare war can't... Oh, wow, everybody's at war with them. That's funny. But anyway, we can't be at peace with Tzeentchians.
I will not stray from destiny.
Yeah, you're gonna stray from destiny unless your destiny is dying. And oh, we've reached 250 in Era of Anarian, which means we can make the choice between Asur Vengeance and Ulthuan Renaissance. So basically, the difference is this. Asur Vengeance, like I said, will be giving us a massive reduction with diplomatic relations with all factions. 15, 30, 50... 100, minus 100 relations with all factions. It does mean fighting everybody, but at the cost of faction, of unit variety, and of allied units. That's the big thing. And of trade agreements and all of that. Whereas Ulthuan Renaissance gives us the opposite, giving us bonus relationships and allowing our faction to get stronger, which means more money, which means, well, more money means more armies and more variety. And I generally tend to go towards variety, even though it is a fun idea to, you know, make Tyrion a total maniac and power up his armies. Admittedly, at the same time, see, if this was own provinces, I would consider this, because minus 20% in own provinces would counteract the additional cash that we get out of this by a fair bit. But in enemy provinces isn't really as valuable on the non-old world map, because most of the time you're in owned territory, not enemy territory. And because you're attacking at pretty much all times. And otherwise, it's powering up armies of ours which are already strong to be stronger, which again makes me think that it's not quite worth it. I will consider thinking about it, or I will continue thinking about it rather, and if you guys have any opinions on the matter, do let me know. But we do have to make the decision relatively soon because we've maxed out Heir of Anarion at 250 and the points will stop going up. Alright, anyway, let's go appoint Sea Masters. I want to grab Recall Colonists to reduce the upkeep of Lothar and Seaguard and Ships Companies. And actually we'll want to do the same thing here for Forge Masters of Vol. Wait, is it better to go through militia training to do that? Frankly, they're both fine. Let's go through this for now. At least until we get the salt thing and then get the salt up and running. Actually, you know what? Let's just do militia training, and then we'll go into some of these, like hardwood construction and whatnot, because they only take one turn, and therefore we'll save up a little bit of surplus research. And that works nicely as well. Anyway, you can't land here, right? By the looks of it, you cannot. Therefore, I think we shouldn't risk you. Tyrion, you're going to go into Noble Prestige, and you're going to besiege Conquata, and thanks to Siege Attacker, we're probably just going to attack it immediately. And now it's a tier 4. Ooh, they do have the guarded tower, though, so it'll be a little bit tougher. And again, we've been fighting with the basic garbage army for so long, but, hey, it's gotten us through 36 turns, so where are we to complain? Can we risk you out here? I see military presence and skilled. We were out here, and we got attacked by Wulfric, meaning there's a decent likelihood that these guys could reach us. You know what? I'm gonna say it's safer to have you land at Henday, and then go out there. You will also want to collect the income, because it's iffy. Rally field. Most likely, we will need to be able to defend the place, and therefore the rally field will need to be... Like, we're not going to make money out of the settlement. We'll need to replace the rally field with a gate guard garrison. Use it there. And Alistar. There we go. Protect that little army. Cadrill. Or Cadrill. You are going to grab this little remnants of battle. And then you're gonna... Huh. I wasn't expecting that. KEMMLER is Arabian Arms. Would have laughed if it was a Curse of Cannibalism for like the 50th time. We cannot reach Bordelot as yet. Can we land? We can, but then these guys will be upset. No, they will not be upset. Yes, Defensive Alliance. Balance offer. Give us vision of the Wood Elves.
Naturally.
Perfect. Alright, that should have given us a vision of them. Let's see what we're looking at. Leofric's Fellowship, Wargrove of Woe, Tulzen. Yes, that's you. No trade agreement as yet, and you don't like us very much because of the malice, so I definitely want Wood Elf units. They work very nicely with ours, especially those of the Wood Elf units that we don't have as yet, like the Hawk Riders. Definitely want Hawk Riders. I'm going to hold off on any of the Tomb Kings. I don't think it's realistic for us to have too many of their units with ours. There are Elven Undead, I do admit, but actually using Elven Undead is kind of a different story. Could non-aggressive Bordelot. Defensive alliance with the Defenders of the Great Plant. Oh, Nakai is dead. That means these guys are actually going to be dead soon. I mean, that's kind of pointless. Let's just ignore it for now. And also any missions? By the looks of it, no. Alrighty, I'd love to do the blurb, but I think we've gone long enough without a fight. So Tyrion, it's Conquata-ing time. It's a word, wait. It's almost Conquata-ing time. I would like to give... you have a Sapphire Guardian, Handmaiden. I was about to say, I'd like to give you guys some items that we got from the convoys, but it's all good. Go. Actually, wait. Nah, no, don't wait, go.
Bring shame and defeat to the king. No! Victory is our only choice.
Alrighty, here we go. Hopefully victory is our only choice, but, well, the Chaos Warriors and Chosen that make up the defense here are not to be underestimated. We've got Ashtari now, the Frostheart Phoenix mount of Caradrian, which does look pretty fantastic. I love the little helmet armor. Oh, you get pets. Anyway, we are going to go after the gate, or at least for a little while. Most likely, since we have 3 flyers, we should probably go up on top of the walls. There's a lot of Chosen and Chaos Warriors up there. Ooh, 2 units of Chosen with great weapon. Seems like a good fight for Caradrian and the Noble and the Flamespire Phoenix there. Or at least it will be in a moment, as soon as these guys close the distance. And admittedly, Tyrion's going to be working away at that gate for a while, so may as well do something up here. And there we go. And the Phoenixes and the Nobles land upon the walls and start attacking the enemy, probably going to take a fair bit of damage here, and therefore will counteract at least some of it. Popping off the Helm of Discord on the Noble, like so. And let's see, doing about 15-20% damage so far. It's going to take a while at this rate. We have, however, been working away at the enemy tower with our artillery, and yeah, it's going to take a while with only 1 Eagle Claw bolt thrower. And ooh, hello, if it isn't an enemy Chaos Lord on Manticore. I guess he wants to play. Another flyer. He goes up on the wall. Unfortunately for him, we have now debuffed all of his little minions here with a nice Curse of the Midnight Wind. -34. -34 is going to be a pretty major debuff. And Caradrian's a very strong fighter. I do expect him to carry the day against Khaine. In the meantime, how's the gate looking? Well, Tyrion's still working away at it, and since we've got a lot of enemies, a lot of enemies up on the walls, we're gonna pop off a Comet of Casandora. There we go, which actually doesn't do a lot of damage to the enemy, but what it does do is knock a lot of them off the walls, or at least some off the walls, and dishing out additional damage, which works nicely for us. And there we go. I'm going to pop off that invocation or fiery convocation down below, trying to hit some of the enemies that are blocking the gate. We have not yet torn the gate down, but Tyrion and the Keepers of the Flame stand there, so if the enemy wants to move through, well, they'll suffer for it. And what the heck? Huh. Oh, I guess some of the Chaos Warriors got knocked off the wall and survived? Why are they out here? That's the only explanation I have for it. Go figure. Oh, that's interesting. That chain lightning didn't seem to hit anybody. Oh no, wait. Could this be bugged? Could the gate not fall? I guess we'll see. There's another Chaos Lord down there, but we'll find out. For now, though, a Urnon Stunbolt hits the enemies on top of the wall. We are still fighting, though the Chaos Lord is down to like 20% of his HP. And the Phoenixes and Nobles are still in the fight. All the while, of course, the arrows rain down upon the enemy, but we're down to about half of our ammunition, A, and B, perhaps more importantly, the lack of armor piercing, almost complete lack of armor piercing on our range fire. This is our basic High Elven archers, keep in mind, that do almost no damage whatsoever to the heavily armored Chaos Warriors. But that's alright. We've got melee troops to fight through this. Anyway, looks like one more hit and the enemy Chaos Lord and Manticore will fall. Okay, somebody land that final blow, please. Well, we got beaks, we got claws, we got halberds. There we go. With that, the Chaos Lord falls. Though there are still plenty of Chosen and Chaos Warriors remaining alive up on top of the wall. And no, it doesn't look like it's bugged. We're good. The gate does fall, and thus Tyrion and his Phoenix Guard here will move through the gate. Or at least in a bit. They've still got a lot of enemies to hack their way through, though I think that Curse of the Midnight Wind will make sure that the Chaos Lord has a really bad time. Now, since we're through the gate, we can start sending more troops through. Our most elite unit after the Phoenix Guard is our Company of the Calendarian, and their great axes will pierce the Chaos Plate of the Chaos Warriors. and hopefully help our way through the breach. Our arrows continue to fall down upon the enemy, but once again not really doing anything to those guys on the walls. And we have at last brought down the enemy tower, and we'll shortly switch to trying to make a breach in the wall, since it's taking such a long time to make our way through the gate. But that's alright. Having the Keepers of the Flame, the most elite infantry unit we have, in the gate like this is not a good matchup for most of the enemy. They don't have aspiring champions, and while Great Weapon Chosen, I'm sure, can do decent damage to them, it's still a very narrow choke point where we have the superior units, especially with Tyrion in the lead there, glowing red, thanks to the Sword of Khaine. They're actually providing a nice spotlight because of it. It's actually kind of reminding me of, there was a battle, I think, in the early or mid-game campaign of the Fey Enchantress where we put a unit of Grail Guardians, I think, in the wall like this. Or in the breach in the gate like this, and then they just absolutely minced troops for such a long time. Same sort of idea. Anyway, Tyrion continues hacking away at the enemy, and tactically, there's nothing else to say. This is just grinding the enemy to dust. And as we finally get our way through the units surrounding the breached gate, our other units will slowly start making their way into the city. It would be nice for some of these ships companies, the other ships companies, to join the fray. Though usually I perhaps wouldn't want the ships companies to face off against the Tier 4 Chosen. Doesn't seem like that great of an idea. But again, with the Phoenix Guard and the company of Calendarian and Tyrion in the lead, we're not having too much of an issue here. Our banners, of course, still fly. Huh. I wonder if there's a Chaos banner mod. I'm gonna double check that. That was a really nice banner. Alright, how's Tyrion damage-wise so far? 140 kills and 41,000 damage. Pretty solid. Admittedly, I'm sure at least some of that was from activating the Sword of Khaine ability. We gotta enjoy it for just a little bit more, I wonder. Probably no more than 1 or 2 turns left until we have to put it back. But we gotta replace it with Sunfang anyway, which is pretty good. And hey, would you look at that? The Lord that Tyrion defeated came back, but it was a bad idea on his part as he gets executed by Caradrian on Phoenix back. And as units move to engage with Caradrian, we pop the Madness of Khaine upon them. Now again, the Madness of Khaine is is a contact effect. I don't remember. Oh, the ability is just called Sword of Khaine. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I could have given it an ability name. I'm surprised that it's a targetable ability instead of being centered on the caster. I feel like it should really be centered on the user of the Sword of Khaine. But whatever. And speaking of the user of the Sword of Khaine here, it looks like Tyrion gets surrounded by Chaos Knights and Warhounds, a combination I like to use myself when playing Chaos a lot. The Hounds of Pestilence with their poison application and their regeneration work very nicely with the Chaos Knights. We are still firing away at the wall, but again, it's taking a very long time to do any damage to it, and at this point I think I decided to give up and just start having the artillery fire on the enemy instead. I'm also shocked that we have any ammunition remaining. Oh, we don't. We have like 5% on 2 or 3 of the archers. Oh, good. What we do, however, have is a little bit of magics. Here comes a nice Ruinous Thunderbolt into the enemy ranks, knocking down a few knights, I'm sure. Our handmaiden is out of ammunition now, and then we'll also join the fray in melee. And it's just a matter of time now. The enemy numbers are low. We've got lots of armor-piercing and anti-large. Lots of infantry units, mind you, but it's a heck of a brawl. Some damn solid action here, you gotta admit. I like how chaotic the battle looks down here. There's no formations from anybody. All the units are sort of mixed together in a big old blob, just fighting whatever they can. And once again, every time I see a Chaos Knight, I'm always amazed at those Chaos Roids, because those guys are so freaking huge. Alrighty, how are we doing here? The bounce bear's at about 90% in our favor. The ship's companies are now streaming into the settlement. They are, of course, going to be a little bit weak, but at the same time, numbers will tell, and they will do decent damage just by virtue of starting to outnumber the enemy at last. Our flyers, though they were damaged fairly heavily up on the wall, joined the fray once more just to prevent these annoying Marauder horsemen with throwing axes from dishing out any further damage. And it looks like as soon as the flyers land, the enemy will shatter and the battle will be ours. Only the Chaos Spawn remain. We just have to cut those guys down. I mean, currently we don't have, well, other than the single unit of Phoenix Guard, a lot of anti-large in this particular army. If we had ammunition, funnily enough, the Chaos Spawn would have been a good target for them. But we used up all of our ammunition somewhat uselessly on the Chosen and Chaos Warriors. But hey, I felt like the archers had to do something. Although, funnily enough, there is an argument to be made for if you want to play efficiently, rather. Ooh, nice snipe from the Handmaiden. I hope you guys saw that one. Over the heads of all the units, sniping that Chaos Spawn. I love it. I thought you were out of ammunition. Anyways, I was saying, efficiency-wise, there's an argument to be made for, in situations like this, not having your range units fire at all, because the balance of power considers ammunition, and thusly maintaining full ammo on all these guys rather than doing minimal, nearly no damage to the units on the walls. It was an argument, because it probably would have forced the enemy to break sooner. And then, of course, when the Chaos Spawn moved in, we could have targeted them. But at the end of the day, if we had done that, perhaps we wouldn't have gotten such a great brawl, and I'm pretty happy with the results. So there it is. Conquata falls and returns to, perhaps it's not its rightful hands, but, well, the elves consider everything to be at their rightful hands, so, you know. Alrighty, there we go. No problem, really. The AI's always been bad at sieges, A, and B, they were not holding back Tyrion with the Sword of Khaine, supported by the Keepers of the Flame here. Since the numbers... Conquata looks pretty cool with the lizardman stuff, but anyway. Since we had a limited amount of space to get through that single gate breach, as it takes way too long for the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower to, bring down those bring down those walls, the Keepers of the Flame and the Company of the Calendarian, 40k damage and 15k damage, did real well there, with Tyrion at 77k at the head, and of course the single entity flyers, the Noble Caradrian now / Ashtari, and Tweedy here with 18k, 12k, and 18k damage apiece, fighting on top of those walls until they could fight no longer, as they took severe damage against the enemy Chosen and stuff. We were able to drop a few spells on them, but the non-overcast Comet of Cassandora really didn't do all that much against the super heavily armored Chosen, so it mostly came down to damage from Tyrion and co. A very nice fight, which will see the Shadow Legion destroyed. Lovely. They would always be a thorn in our side, and, well, they had to go. And, frankly, the same thing... Gorehunt. Frankly, the same thing has to be said here at the Citadel of Lead. We will attack those guys in short order. Ruined Dome Stones. We'll build those up. Again, we'll need to fortify basically this entire island, as it'll be our staging ground for attacking Norska. Most likely militarize the whole place. And we do have some green territories here, so we can use, well, once again, use it as staging ground. I noticed that the port will give us an additional little bit of recruitment cost reduction. I guess the question is, do we want to start building stuff now or wait until 2 turns from now and when we can get the construction reductions? I mean, I think we'll build the Ruined Dome Stones anyway. We'll save a turn in building them up that way. I don't know whether we'll want to collect income here, so I'm not entirely sure whether the promenade would be all that useful. The defensive, well, all 3 settlements will have defensive garrisons, so we're not going to make much money. Though, funnily enough, this does give income from all buildings plus 20%, which will counteract at least some of the defensive garrisons. We could actually build an archive here as well. We have been needing more mages, though it will take a long time to build it. Frankly, it'll probably be faster to just build the archive at Lothern in 2 turns. This is all going to take a while. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to wait until the construction reduction. Minus the Elven Gardens, regardless of the fact that this basically gives us no garrison, it would be nice to have more noble capacity everywhere. 1,000 gold, though. Yeah, but then we won't be able to build the stone walls and the promenade for the, or the plaza for the public order. Yeah, no, still build the freaking plaza. We'll need to wait until it goes up to tier 4. Anyway, that looks good to me. Well done, Tyrion and co. Actually, Tyrion, you will have leveled up, meaning you can get favorable wins now for the ranged aspects of your army. And, by the looks of it, other than Master Strategist for the Phoenix Guard, which you only have the one for now, you're ready to start putting points into your fighty tree and get fightier, buddy.
Would be pleased.
I know you like that sort of thing. Anyway, Leia Alright, so what do we have here? Toranlek. I believe we were waiting for the Everqueen to help out. So I guess we could wait the turn and build stuff there next turn with additional reductions. Probably should upgrade the Shrine of Khaine ASAP as well. Alright, so that means Leia, you are in theory free to move here and reduce the cost of this and even the salt thing, and then come back to Toranlek. You should be just in range, I think. So, go right... Now, what's the least amount of movement range? Go along the road, I guess. Go right here. We'll build up the tannery and the promenade. And we'll send you right here. Like so, to build up the salt distillery. This we will ignore, plus the ancient subterranean palace until the Everqueen gets here. And wait, we got 2 turns until the invocation of Asuryan, which will probably be the amount of time that it takes to get there. Therefore, perfect. We can keep it all at 1 turn and reduced as well. Yeah, also stay in this territory because it'll make us a little bit more money thanks to the additional money that you make. Lovely. Alright, what else do we have here? Kevin. The recruitment has been completed, such as it is. How close are we to rank 30 on Tyrion? Not that close. Meaning it's time to start delivering some of this stuff. So, in that light, do we have a free lord that we can send to deliver stuff? You, Borath. I'm going to have you take the Bolt Thrower and both of the Exalted Illyrian Reaver Archers. And I want you to deliver both of them. Well, you know what? Take them next turn. You can't move right now anyway. We have to keep Kevin here because he's the recruiter for the faction. You have to deliver those guys to K-Drill. Although admittedly, if you go like this, you can also deliver stuff to Corhill and to Alistar. So if there's any spare units that you want to send to them, you're free to do so as well. We could have Corhill use the Exalted Illyrian Reavers for a bit with his War Lions. It's gonna be a bit until we have War Lion Chariots, although at the same time I suppose we could use Ithilmar Chariots in place of the War Lion Chariots until we get War Lion Chariots. Now thereby we can build the army in the way that we would think that it would look. Granted, you have the Ithilmar Chariots and I don't think you're gonna get back there anytime soon. I'll think about it. We have a turn or so to think about it after all. Speaking of you, Hennermara, you're gonna head to Hag Grief, or keep heading to Hag Grief. Melanair the Wise. How are we doing here? So Arathon is still a little bit damaged, and looks like it will no longer rebel. That's quite shocking, despite the fact that it has no public order structures, huh? Well, once we build a public order structure, it'll be fine. Also, we need to be tier 5 to get the Black Citadel. Okay, well, that's going to be a bit. Arathon. I guess like I said, I wanted to send you to Norska. Your army isn't complete, but you can still heal at sea, so go right here towards the Isles. Get ready to travel. You will also need a mage, and... Oh, I was going to say we give the Mist Mage to Corhill, but I wanted a Mist Mage. I did give a Mist Mage to Corhill. How do you... Oh, that's a different Mist Mage. My bad. Yeah, I mean, I guess we could travel Corhill to Norska with just what he currently has, and then just replace it as we go. Or to here as well. We need to help, say, Bretonnia. I don't want to occupy too much territory in Bretonnia, minus perhaps Bordeaux, just because the trade. But otherwise, assuming that these guys fail, but I think they will fail here. Yeah, alright. That means Corhill. Do you want to trade Arathon the Mage? Which kind of mage are you again? Protected. I'd rather have a fighty mage for Arathon, I think. Or Fighty Mist Mage. So that slippery one kind of makes more sense to me. Unless we don't have... Oh, yeah, we do. Limber. Alright, let's get the Limber one then. I assume... Wait, can we build Mist Mages closer here somewhere? We can. Only level 1, mind you, but it's better than traveling for 8 million years. I hate to spend the 50 influence on this, but... Yeah, Arathon's gonna need the caster. And frankly, a Heavens Caster also makes more sense, because he's gonna have all flying armies, so we'll grab a Heavens Caster in here as well, plus the Mist Mage. And then whatever nobles and whatnot we can fit.
High Elven Archmage.
And that, like, you're actually going to need to lose one of your troops, which is probably going to be one of the spears, and thusly, you can just lose them now. You don't need the basic spears. Like so. Alrighty, then you are going to move out this way. You may not be super ready, but you're ready enough for our purposes. Go here. We can land at either Lyonesse or Barley Motte. In fact, if Alistar takes Barley Motte for us, or Moat, we can have Corhill use the harbor. I think I like that. We were always going to get into a war with these guys. The other option is to head towards Marienburg as fast as we can to grab that before the Empire does. It's probably going to be of great value to us, so maybe we can have you land at Barley Motte, have Alistar go to Marienburg. Something like that. More trade goods, after all, will mean more armies faster. Like Billionaire, you really got to get him his swords masters and lore masters. Actually, speaking of Billionaire, oh right, you were supposed to deliver to Arathon the sky cutters, because he needs 8 sky cutters, or 7, depending. Because I want some Boltor sky cutters, because he doesn't have siege attacker otherwise. Either way, that means you're heading out this way, buddy. All right, looks good to me. Trillion. You are going to steal tech from Grey Rock Point again, and we will read the blurb about the Battle of Finneval Plain. We will go for... Oh, we're saving for Focused Mind. Alright, that's fine. Alright, Finneval Plain. You're in here somewhere. There it is. During the Great War against Chaos, the shattered remnants of the Elf armies, depleted after many battles against the combined forces of Dark Elves and Chaos, assembled at the plain of Finneval for a desperate last stand. Charioteers from Tiranoc raced into position between Silverhelm cavalry and spearmen from Cathik and Yvresse. Illyrian cavalrymen mustered beside the elite White Lions of Crace. Griffin-mounted elf lords soared over the army. Swords masters of the White Tower formed up alongside the Everqueen's maiden guard. When word of the Everqueen's presence was known, a great cheer went up from the army, and all the warriors gained new heart. But then a cloud of dust on the horizon announced the arrival of their enemies. That night, the two armies camped almost within bowshot of each other. Out of gratitude for his rescue of the Everqueen, the Elves of Illyrian presented Tyrion with their finest steed, Malhandir, last of the bloodline of Carhandir, the father of horses. Everqueen herself gifted Tyrion with a heart-shaped brooch, the Heart of Avalorn, which she had woven with enchantments for his safe return. To Teclis, Elariel gave the sacred staff of Lalaeth. It granted him strength and power so great that he had no need for his enabling potions. As the sun rose, Elariel turned to the assembled army and spoke. My friends, we are gathered in very dark times. Our enemies are mighty and our allies few. We have suffered defeat after defeat and loss after loss. I would not blame any of you if you had lost all hope of eventual victory. Nonetheless, you have not done so. You have not given up even in the face of a foe who delights in displaying the cruelty of power. You have not admitted defeat even in the face of overwhelming odds. You stand before me ready to fight and die for your homeland, and that makes me proud of each and every one of you. The two forces clashed at the heart of the Finneval Plain. The Dark Elves had the greater number and their allies were fell. The High Elves were fighting for their homeland and the Everqueen. They had the desperate courage that flowed from knowing that this might be their last chance to turn the tide. All that long day the armies fought with savage fury. Both sides were driven by consuming hatred that their ancient civil war had bred. Tyrion fought in the very center of the battle, striving with the fury of an enraged beast. His great burning blade cut down foes with every stroke, and where he rode, the High Elves took heart. Meanwhile, Teclis wrestled with the Witch King's dark sorcery, and for the first time encountered a foe that was his match. Lightning streaked across the sky. Terrible clouds of black sorcery, capable of stripping warriors to the bone, were turned aside by magical winds. Demons tore their way through to the mortal world and brought fresh carnage to a battlefield already heavy with slaughter. This alone might have spelled doom for the elves had it not been for the actions of the Everqueen, who sent a wave of blazing light through the demonic ranks, casting many thousands of them from the mortal world. Alas, this deed saw her already waning power completely spent. Moments after, her unconscious body was borne from the battlefield by her surviving handmaidens. The battle raged on, but Alariel would play no further part. Oh, I assume we're going to get another blurb following this, but I guess not this turn. Alright, fair enough. And ooh, we're back down to 1.3k per turn. That ain't so great, but it is what it is. Skip, 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 skip. And diplomacy check. And did taking Conquata do anything? Not really. We could probably force a trade with the Leofric's Fellowship by getting the non-aggression pact to make some money out. Oh, actually we can't. Frankly, these guys are probably dead, therefore we could just take their money. I don't see them surviving with being at war with so many factions out here. Might as well. Like we were going to aggress with them anyway. And what do we have here? This we can ignore. Alright, and how are we looking for Confederation 3? Now, once it's down to 2, we would in theory be able to fight a quest battle. Though I do want the silver helms and stuff delivered to Tyrion, ideally. Oh, you should be a little bit more forward. Oh, you can actually trade. Lovely. And that's the last of the regular spears. Almost tempted to take the handmaiden as well, but I guess we could actually deliver her to Corhill instead. Although we'd have to delete another one of those poor Eagle Claw bolters, but it is what it is. Anyway, end turn. I think we were at end turn. I hope we were at end turn, because the turn has ended. Alright, let's see if anything interesting happens with regards to the convoys. Are we reaching the Great Turtle Isle this turn or next turn? It's definitely soon, I'm just not 100% sure. Ah, hello. We have a blurb here. Right? Oh, wow, that is a heck of a blurb. Okay, that's too long of a blurb. And we won't have time to read it between the end turn, I think. How about you, Bart? Okay, Alberic, you had to interrupt the blurbing. Non-aggression pact. You survive, then we'll non-aggress with you, buddy. And we're back here to, once again, the camera decides to go where there is no blurb. Oh, come on. Oh, well. What can you do? There will be time for more blurbs. Rest assured. Rest assured. Alright, and convoying, let's see. We got 2 out there, so there's a decent chance at least one of them will do something. Heart of Avalorn, capture and occupy Phoenix Gate. Quest issued. Oh, I think that's just based on the levels, right? Huh. Anyway, my liege, as you are all too aware, without the fortress gates in the north of Ulthuan, the Druki would have scoured the inner kingdoms long ago, hollowing out our homeland. And now the Phoenix Gate comes under sustained attack. Our Dark Elf kin hope the failing vortex will keep us distracted long enough for them to breach it. But Avalorn lies beyond, and the Everqueen herself may be put in harm's reach. She and the inner kingdoms must be protected. The fortress gate has to hold. Alright, and how's it? Well, it's got the character or leadership effect, I guess, and then the healing will be good because Tyrion continues acting like a maniac. As, unsurprisingly, the Agents of the Moon are destroyed. Toranlek, blurb. Darkest Tower, okay, there's the continuation of the previous blurb. Lorna Princess back up and running, and a couple of others back up and running as well. Quest successful, I got that game, thank you. And, huh?
Ulthuan's defender.
Oh. That's because you reach rank 25, yeah. But you get no quest battle for it. Either way, we're going to get this, like so. And replace the Golden Crown of Atrazar, as I said, with the Vambraces of Defense. More wards save at the cost of a little bit of armor, but frankly, you're pretty heavily armored already. And there are others with less armor that I think will benefit from this. I'm sure. It is said that druids of the ancient, long-dead tribes of Albion bade a race of giants to construct a series of stone circles across their island, whose mystical properties would allow them to channel chaos-warding magic. How'd that work out for them? Alright, let's see. You can now go to Citadel of Lead. Oh, Capitano Sissoko, we should really kill you. And this again is not worth our time. Auto-resolve, we'll heal up. and occupy.
We have captured
Lovely. And then with the Vanaheimlings destroyed, we will go into rebuild Lost Splendor and then build more stuff up next turn. We will delete the Grazing Meadows and the Grove alike, replace it with several defensive structures here. We will start with the Watchtower next turn and follow it up with a Gate Guard Garrison because it gives a solid 6 Gate Guard. Oh, 2 Gate Guard as Garrison. That's still better than other things, I think. Other tier 3 things. What do you give? 2 Lothern Sea Guard versus 2 Gate Guard. I think I'd rather have the Gate Guard with the additional defensive supplies, so yeah. Alrighty. An Obsidian Blade.
Tyrion.
Very nice. I mean, not better than the Sword of Khaine, but I'm actually surprised that the sword hasn't gone to the next level. But it will very soon, I'm sure. Alrighty, and next turn, perhaps we'll take the time to fight the quest battle. In addition to that, Colin, can you... this guy being here, see how far they can travel, wait. If you go here, you can't land, can you? It doesn't look like it, you're very close to being able to, but this makes me too nervous. We could move together with Alistar. Though I was gonna send him to grab Marienburg in the meantime, since we're about to declare war on several factions at the same time.
You called?
And you can you actually land at Bordlow? Huh. Why are you moving like this? It looks like it says you can't, but you should be able to attack Bordlow directly by... Okay, you know what? Go here. You don't have Siege Attacker because, well, we're supposed to get it to you. Hopefully this works. These guys are at war. I don't want them to take Bordlow, though. That would be annoying for us. Please tell me you can actually land here. Alright, let's give it a shot. You are currently at war with...
Say what you must.
Broken Axe and Carrick Ziflin, that's it. I don't want to make any agreements with Ziflin because it might piss off the Wood Elves. I'm surprised that Carcassonne is not at war with them. I think we're just going to directly declare war on them.
My minions are restless.
I don't think the Elves would stoop to asking the Dwarfs to join war.
I refuse.
Or just stoop down to their level anyway. Anyway,
I'm waiting.
that was a short joke, by the way. Anyway, let's go to Bordlow. Can we land an attack immediately? Yes, we can. Beautiful. Besiege it. Like so, since you have no Siege Attacker, but we're going to carry the Siege Attacker to you in a moment. That would be you, Borath. Let's get you Inspiring Presence. Then we will take the 2 Illyrian Reavers for you. We'll grab the spears that are going north anyway. We'll grab the Exalted High Elven Archers. Technically speaking, the Shadow Warriors are going with the High Elven Archers. And... well, just grab everything. I mean, yeah, just do it. We'll give those to whoever can use them. Alright, go this way. And Kevin, as soon as you're ready, you can recruit more stuff, but stay here for now, buddy. In fact, I think since you're staying here for now... I gotta get the Gilded Cuirass back. Hopefully we can get back to Tyrion shortly. Not the Eataine Vintner. Oh, although I would want the Eataine Vintner in a second. Not the Bard. The Advisor to the King. I just want this here in Lothern. Oh, speaking of Lothern, you could reach the next tier, but without the builders, we aren't building this in one turn. Which means it might be faster just run back over there. And reduce the time. Oh, actually, in one turn we will have the Invocation of Asuryan, so we could do that. Also, how are we doing here? No building to be building. Oh, actually. Now you need to switch to Rebuild Lost Splendor anyway. And then you will need to switch to Rebuild Lost Splendor as well. Even without builders. Some stuff should be built. How about you? You're actually fine. And then you are... fine to... next turn. Okay, fine. You are going to go briefly to Torian like Ilariel. And then I guess you, like Quinn, are going to go just to the edge of Torian like as well. Perfect. And between you two, we should have a much cheaper building of stuff. Ooh, we got the food thing as well. Meaning, if we go to technology in a moment, like so, we can go ahead and grab preserved seafood for the additional growth faction wide. That'll come in very handy. And I think, yeah, I'm gonna go for the allies. I just think that more variety in armies and army compositions is just going to make for a better experience. We can attack anybody we want anyway. Regardless. And it's not like we wouldn't be able to fight off everybody anyway if we wanted to, but fighting them off with the same exact armies would get a little bit more boring, especially as it would also make it more difficult to make money. Anyway, I want to see military convoys. 2 turns and 3 turns. So you're going to Great Turtle Isle, and then I forget where you're going. Miragliana. Okay, fair enough. Have to try to sort of semi-keep track as best I can. Hey, we're also nearly to the point where we can get enough influence to grab another one of these. Probably Coril. Somebody's gonna get Krace, as those armies are sort of ready to go. Anyway, Alistar, how much would it cost to grab Kuhan? Not all that much.
I will do my duty.
You know what? Grab Kuhan on the way to Marienburg, I think. Although it very well could be full of rats. I guess we're about to find out. Oh, hey, little orc.
Seize it.
There you go here. Hello, Defenders of Ulthuan, the Lady of the Lake welcomes you. Alright, we'll give this a read together with some of the others in a moment. I'd like to fight something if at all possible. There's enough Defenders in Barley Motte considering that Corkhill is fairly weak right now. So I think we'll head there. And who are you again? Limber. Ah, yes, so you're going into Arathon's army. Therefore, Arathon, you're going to Norska, so you can go to where Colin is. And help Colin reach these places. So Colin, just stay here. In fact, right, go into Hende, because it'll reduce the costs of the army. Yeah, we're gonna need a lot of little princelings and stuff to act as, damn it, to act as troop ferries / troop trains. Go try to increase mobility. Bellinaire. Delete that spear. And I guess go back. Although we may have some spare troops once we trade some stuff. You know what? Go into Elysia for now. Sit there. We'll see. Alright, I think Coril, we're gonna fight at Barley Motte. Wait, did I build the building stuff here? I did not. Okay, let's do this before I forget. Critically, we'll get the Sculptor's Workshop, which is free thanks to both of these. So is the port, and so is the tower. Yeah. And this is why we want Telariel here. Together with Leaquin. Tordranel. Normally I would go for the Craftsman, but I think in this particular case we may want the Plaza. Otherwise it's just going to rebel again. Which is quite annoying. And I guess we do the same thing here. Yeah. Public order. Public order. Much as I'd like the Craftsman. Alrighty, then... I guess this will still need to be continued the construction next turn, so you're going to head into the Shrine of Kurnus and end your turn there, and then we'll use you to move towards Torquarali next turn together with Leaquin. There's nothing to build here anyway, so we know that in theory both of you should be able to reach it. Just make sure that you're as close as you can get. Good. Alright, who is next? Steven is good where he is. Hinamara. You cannot reach Hagreef as... don't think you can reach Hagreef as yet. You can trespass, though. Travel in and camp... oh, it's too late for that. Alright, travel in channeling stance. Let's bussing. Go towards Hagreef. We'll see. Who are these guys fighting, incidentally? They are fighting the Exiles of Nehek and the Cabal. They're fighting... well, everybody's fighting the Cabal. Huh, and they've lost the territory here. Like, they're not fighting the Wood Elves, surprisingly. Also, really? You built this little structure, but you didn't... you know, these guys are taking too long to build this up, I think. I think maybe we should just trade it. They're not going to do anything useful with it. Alright. Let us... we can't trade it directly. Twisted Glade for now. Okay, let's do Val's Anvil. More armies. Trade settlements. This is... Nagaroth. If I can find you in here. Nagaroth. We will trade... Twisted Glade. Val's Anvil. Like so. Thank you. Ally loses outpost. Whoops. Okay, and delete this. Uncollect income. Build growth buildings as fast as possible. Frankly, if later on, if these guys are willing to sell us Hag Hall in something, I'd be perfectly happy to get the entire province. Ugh, minus 40. Alright, maybe we can transfer them some settlements elsewhere, or if we find some magical forests that are red to us, or actually magical forests are yellow to us, but nonetheless. There's something to think about. Anyway, anybody else need to move? Bellinaire, you're fine where you are. Corhill, oh right, let's have you fight at Barley Motte. Who are you at war with? Carcassonne. Well, man, lovely. We will join your war against the Broken Axe. Really? No trade agreement for that? Come on. Alright. You're giving us your money for this. This time around. And Corhill, you're gonna land and you're gonna fight. Hopefully well. Lovely. Pyrrhic victory. Is this a minor settlement? It is not. It's a field battle. Works for me. Go.
For the king!
Alrighty, here we go. Coral Lionmane with 2 axes, 2 very large axes. I'll see what he looks like in action. Huh. I kind of like him on foot like this. I want to see what his animations look like. Will he attack with both axes? Because if he does, I might actually decide to keep him on foot and maybe Alistar on the Warline Chariot. Although, I guess we'll also have to see how he attacks in the Warline Chariot, because I did fully intend to give him more Warline Chariots. Although, perhaps, ironically, we could have him be a Footlord and have a bunch of Warline Chariots in his army, and Alistar be a Chariot Lord, but have a bunch of... but have no Chariots in his army. And the irony is real. Or will be real. If that's what I decide to do. Anyway, battle will start as we head off the enemy units of Boar Boys, first smashing into them with the Eagles to prevent their movement, then surrounding them with a combination of High Elf Rangers and the Warlines. There we go. And we've sent all of our Rangers and Warlines onto the flanks of the battle here. In the center, we've maintained all 4 of our Silverin Guards, so we're hoping to obliterate the fast movers, the Boar Boys, etc., and then hit all the enemy range units, while we hold the line against the Orc Boys with our Silverin Guard. Which I would imagine should work pretty well. Silverin Guard are fairly solidly statted up with 62 melee defense and 85 armor. And I would imagine that they should be able to fight on par with a unit of Biggins, though the Biggins do have a lot of armor piercing in SFO, as I recall. 57 weapon strength armor piercing, pretty solid. And especially with WA active, we've got to be pretty careful. In the meantime, Corhill tries to engage the enemy Black Orc Big Boss, though unfortunately, he is also surrounded by armor piercing Biggins, so this is perhaps not a good idea. But nonetheless, good idea or not, this is what I like to see, so he's just gonna have to fight. I see he's attacking with his right-hand axe a lot. Does he use his left-hand axe as well, is the question. We should have twin axe, or twin... dual-wielding lords, right? I'm pretty sure we do. Although his attacks against lords may be different from his attacks against infantry. Anyway, while he's dueling, and they're both roughly even in terms of their HP, it looks like the Boar Boys have been cleared out, and now the Rangers and Warlines, as we've already seen, working fairly well together. Well, as we've already seen in our other army here. And I'm liking the fact that we're getting some decent mileage out of the Rangers. Now that the enemy's range line has been killed by our Rangers, the Rangers will smash into the enemy's backliners. And it looks like Corhill routes and the Black Orc Big Boss routes as well. I guess, well, Corhill would have won if it wasn't, if I didn't put him to be completely surrounded by a Black Orc, not Black Orcs, Biggins, just regular Biggins, Orc Biggins. Nonetheless, a very nice duel, and hey, that's what I like to see. It wouldn't be quite as fun if it was just an easy fight for everybody. Not quite as good as the duel between Tyrion and Bellicor, perhaps, but still some solid fighting. Either way, it looks like with the enemy's back lines destroyed and now our other units smashing into the rear of the enemy held by the Silverin Anvil, the battle is ours. The Orcs shatter, and Corhill gets his first win. Lovely. Alrighty, there we go. Well, fighting a Black Orc Big Boss turned out to be a little bit much for Corhill, at least when surrounded by enemies. I just can't resist sending a Lord to a duel, even if it's disadvantageous. Not to worry, he'll level up and we'll make him real strong in short order. And I do love those twin axes. That dude looks pretty good. Hopefully he'll get his proper army rather soon. Though the sort of random units that we got for his army right now did pretty darn well. The Rangers got around the enemy army and started mincing the enemy backliners and such, with the help of the war lines, and the Silver Guard admirably killed the line for quite the while, until the rest of the enemy army was dead and we were able to hit the enemy in the back line as well. Lovely work. Alrighty, we will occupy the place like so. And we got ourselves a potential landmark here. A Toralessi Reclaim, so a former High Elven colony. We'll give this a read in a bit, but we do have... Ooh, we can upgrade you. You know what, don't collect the income here as yet, much as I'd love the free money. I wonder if we'll want to build defensive structures here. Maybe not immediately. You know what, unlike the other places, I think I'm going to try to grow this... Oh, wow, it's going to cost a lot to build that homestead. Anyway, build the hamlet here in Kuhan. We have the money, and start on the haven. Wait, actually don't. We will pop off the invocation of Asuryan next turn, so we have to delay any new construction, in fact. So yeah, we won't build anything else until next turn. Also, I'd really like to do that quest battle to fix our public order everywhere, so most likely we'll be doing that next turn as well. Pretty critical. Ooh, Tancred Castle has the defenses here, so... Oh. 3 Savage Giants and Blackworks. Oh, that might actually be something of a problem for you, Alistair. Alright, well, we gotta get ready for this, just in case they declare war on us and attack. It is a possibility. I want you to be able to overcast Shield of Thorns because of the area effect that it adds. You can get replenished troops and otherwise hold on to your points. Okie dokie. And the rest of this is looking okay. Kellen can't move. We've got another blurb to read. The not Trillian can steal tech, though. Or can she? Well, she can move towards Ancient City of Quintex, which, by the looks of it, is going to be Morathi's last location. Yeah, I think whether Mazdamundi gets obliterated by Morathi is basically completely dependent on whether he starts fighting or continues fighting the Jade Court. In this particular campaign, it looks like they're allied, and therefore it works well for them. Grants enchanted item. No, I wanted to see what the enchanted item was. We'll check that out at some point, I'm sure. And... Spawns a portal connecting to the Southlands, traversable by anyone. Now that's an interesting landmark. That's a very interesting landmark. I will keep that in mind next time I play Dark Elves, for example. Ooh, you have an island... Oh, hello. I know where we're sending Kadril next. There's islands out here. In fact, there's a whole... Hey, another Skull Island. Okay, yes. Basically, go like this. You could pick up a ton of islands. Hopefully one of them has materials at sea. Anyway, I do believe we have a blurb for our reading. Let's see. Toranlek, I believe, was the one that we started with, so let's go Toranlek. The Shadowlands are the remains of ancient Nagaroth, where Anarion held court at Anlek, and from these lands the ancestors of the Nagarothi sprung. Though the Dark Elves have invaded Nagaroth many times, no conquest has endured. Each time, Anlek has been rebuilt. The Phoenix King's soldiers have cast it down. Malekith has promised the Shade clans possession of any Nagaroth lands that they can wrest from the High Elves, and rewards them for every head of a Shadow Warrior sent to him in Nagarond. There is now sporadic but vicious guerrilla fighting between the Shadow Warriors of Ulthuan and these emigre Shades, sometimes called the Sundered Clans or Reaver Shades. Malekith hopes that this fighting will sap the strength and morale of the Shadow Warriors so that they will be swept away when the time for invasion comes again. So this thing doesn't bother to explain what Shades are, and Shades are Dark Elves that don't live in the cities. They are kind of vicious, cannibalistic. They have a tendency to live in forested and mountainous terrains, kind of similar to Shadow Warriors in that they hide in And the tactics that they employ in Malekith's offer to the Reaver Shades is basically so that they leave their portion of the countryside and then take territory in Nagaroth. And yeah, but they're perfectly happy to eat Dark Elf city folk as much as they are to eat High Elves. Fun guys. Anyway, let's see what else we've got. We got a second blurb to Bretonnia. Wait. I think that wasn't the one I was thinking of, was it? I thought there was a continuation of Novel Plain. I see Toranlek. The Darkest Hour. Here it is. I knew it was there. Alariel came to a glade in the forests. This place still brought back painful memories for her. It was here where the 4 assassins sent by Malekith had finally caught up with Alariel and Tyrion, coming upon their camp by night. The two had been fleeing the devastation wrought by the combined armies of Druki and Chaos, Tyrion having been badly wounded in the previous battle. The wounded elf lord fought like a blood-mad wolf when the assassins descended upon them. Under his furious onslaught, the Dark Elves died, but not before one of their number unleashed a messenger familiar to carry word of their location to the Witch King. Howling with triumph, the Lord of Nagaroth then sent forth his pride and joy, the Keeper of Secrets, Nakari. With a roar, the great demon sped through the night to find its prey. The demon found Tyrion and the Everqueen in the dark hour before the dawn, descending upon them like a falling star from the firmament. Once the Everqueen could easily have banished the demon, but her power was much reduced even as her land was ravaged. Tyrion reeled to his feet, determined to sell his life dearly. With a sweep of one mighty fist, the demon dashed the wounded warrior aside. Looming over the Everqueen, it reached out to caress her cheek with its claw. Lightning suddenly split the night, and the demon was knocked back. A frail-looking figure emerged from the forest. On his head was the horned moon helm of Sapphire, and he swiftly took up position between the Everqueen and the Keeper of Secrets. With an angry bellow, the demon rose to confront him. Teclis spoke words of thunder, and a sphere of coruscating energy leapt forth, its touch instantly casting the demon back into the realm of chaos. Nakari just can't catch a break. Alariel at last was safe, but the great war was far from over. Oh, poor Nakari. I almost feel bad, but yeah. Anyway, lastly, small blurb. The Lady of the Lake welcomes you, because I guess we took territory in Bretonnia. When the forces of Ulthuan marched through Bretonnia, the Horse Lords beseeched the Lady for guidance. Her message was clear. Lay down your arms and welcome the elves with friendship. The damsels, prophetesses, and even the Fey Enchantress all shared the same message. As a result, the elves re-established their old colonies without resistance. Indeed, the peasants celebrated the arrival of these mystical figures. The Bretonians were ignorant of the fact that the Lady of the Lake was, in fact, Lilith, the elven goddess of the moon, and had her own people's best interests at heart. Now, haughty elven princes joust with imperious Bretonian knights on Kurun's famous tourney grounds, while prophetesses and archmages hold secret council within the Abbey of the Grail Companions. Some elves have even begun their own Grail quests, eager to gain Lilith's blessing for themselves. It is a new era for both peoples, one that can only end in victory against the forces of chaos. Well, this is pretty neat. So this is basically like a, alternate timeline. Like, it's saying that we're conquering. It's like proposing what would happen if the elves were to actually take all the Bretonian territory, which is kind of interesting. Not canon, but interesting, and keeping it as a sort of a separate lore timeline, whatever campaign. I like that. I like that aspect of the mod a lot. Neat. Anyway, I believe that was the only blurb we had. We're waiting to build, therefore we can go next turn and see if we can't fight anybody. Just gotta double check that there's no further trade agreements every time. Hey, Okamoto Clan and United Maritime Patrol. Yeah, we're gonna trade with you.
Greetings, esteemed ally. For the good of all.
There you go, buddy. Actually, out of curiosity. I can still trade with the Okamoto Clan for the, couple turns that it takes until they die. Why not? They will mostly die. Most likely die, just like the somethings of the moon. Sermons of the moon. But nonetheless, I just want to see something. What are the landmarks here? Anything interesting? Citadel of the Sun. 2 capacity for Sun and Moon Dragons. Stuff for Eastern colonies. Yeah, okay. If we go to 2 more Skull Islands? Oh man, this is far though. Almost tempted to mount an expedition down there. Unbreakable during siege against Dark Elves. Huh, that's quite interesting. Capacity for Lore Masters, cooldown for all spells faction-wide, spell resistance specifically for spears faction-wide. It's quite interesting as well. It's K-Drill too. She's everywhere, damn it. Anyway, I do wish that she had gone down here. Teclis, you're gonna die like this. I really doubt that you're gonna be able to take Fate Weaver's crevasse. And I assume that your army has damage. But it looks like he did manage to defend the lizards against the, against the onslaught of their enemies. What is this? What am I seeing here? Are you going to the edge of the map? Oh, right. I forgot. You can't click the edge of the map there. It freezes. My bad. I forgot that it does that. Anyway, let's end the turn. Alrighty. And yeah, this is settlement with siege border low. Oh, right. We're building siege equipment because that army doesn't have siege attacker until we can get to that bolt thrower in it. But it'll only take a turn or two. It's almost there. It still needs gate guard as well. I really should build that gate guard building to get a few out there somewhere. We are building some in Albion. And that will help with capacity. Do you want peace immediately, buddy? Peace treaty now. No, poor fella, he had... Oh, it's KEMMLER himself. Wellity. This is actually going to be a pretty tough fight for Cadrill. The Hex Wraiths are going to be a tremendous issue. And frankly, 4 units of Crypt Hulks plus Krell. Yeah. We should be careful here. This is very dangerous. And I love to see Hex Wraiths anytime, because they're my favorite unit in the game. Let's hope that they don't kill us all. We have no magical damage to rely on to kill them, and going to have to make sure to hit them with a couple of spells with our Mist Mage. Well, basically just try to hit them with Matland Spite repeatedly, though they'll just get heals from KEMMLER. It's gonna be an interesting one. Go. Alrighty, here we go. This is an iffy one. The odds are against us, and so we're going to have to approach this a little bit more strategically than we normally might. Not just going to be about sort of rule of cool fighting. The main issue is the 2 units of Hex Wraiths and the Cairn Wraiths. Hex Wraiths, besides being my favorite unit in the game, immune to contact effects, 75 physical resistance, and 50% missile resistance. They will take minimum possible damage from any range units, and that's obviously not good. Plus, they dish out massive damage as well. And then there's KEMMLER and Krell to consider, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So, the way that we're going to start this off is by focusing down the Necromancers. Fortunately, they are rather slow, and our 2 Illyrian Reaver Archers are not going to get caught by anything short of the Hex Wraiths here, who actually... Well, they might be able to catch them. They have Strider, after all. In fact, they probably would, but as long as they don't move towards us, we'll be okay. And in an emergency, we have the Mist Mage sort of standing nearby to pop off the slowing effect of the Mathland Spite. 60% speed reduction if you overcast it, as I recall, so yeah, just keep in mind in case the Hex Wraiths charge us. If we can take out a Necromancer or both Necromancers, that would really help out a lot. Although the fact that they keep getting healed by KEMMLER and the fact that they have regeneration isn't too great for us right now. Other than that, the way that we're approaching this battle is thus. We started deployed here. We're now moving to this side of the map, effectively trying to get as far away from the enemy reinforcements as possible. The enemy is most likely waiting for their reinforcements to arrive on the battlefield. This works in our favor to some degree, other than the fact that we can hose down the Necromancer with arrows a little bit, though apparently to kill even 1 Necro takes 50%, actually more than 50% of the ammunition of both of our Illyrian Reaver Archers, but nonetheless. The thing is, we want to be as far away from this enemy as possible because undead are very, very slow. With only 28 move speed on the Graveguard, these guys are going to take absolute ages to cross the map and get to all the way back here. The other reason is that this side of the map has a hill, as well as a little bit of impassable terrain, so we will want to take advantage of that. Anyway, looks like the enemy has caught sight of our Mist Mage and will head towards it with Dire Wolves, so both of our units of our Illyrian Reavers, not the Archers, the melee units, will charge them. Bone Crusher will deplete their melee defense, or make it even lower, and we quickly tear them to shreds. In addition, it looks like the first of the units of Care Wraiths have sighted us and will head towards us, or Hex Wraiths rather, so we use that speed-reducing Mathland Spite, dropping them down to 34 speed. Now, we will target them with as many archers as possible, but especially the archers that have the High Elven archers, the Exalted archers. The reason being, they shoot 2 projectiles at once and at basically max reload speed. Yes, with the Hex Wraith's defenses, they effectively do only 1 damage each, but that's a lot of arrows hitting you for 1 damage each constantly. And it's not like the Wraiths have a lot of HP to worry about. Similar situation here. The other Hex Wraiths attempt to charge towards us, but we do area denial, popping off the vortex in their way. They do back off, and so do the Cairn Wraiths away from it, but that gives us more time to fire upon them, and hopefully destroy these critical units. Our anti-large ranged units, which is our Lothran Sea Guard, together with our Illyrian Reaver Archers, will now focus the next critical unit, the Crypt Hulks. And these guys are absolutely critical to the roster, and lethal poison is what they have as their contact effect in SFO, so certainly to be concerned about. But we've got a lot of anti-large, and without too many skeletons there to support them, and the Necromancer's not there to support them either, it looks like we're okay. And speaking of the Necromancers, we are anti-large on the Illyrian Reaver, or Exalted Illyrian Reavers. They rush past the entirety of the enemy army to surround that poor corpse cart riding Necromancer and tear him to shreds. Krell, in the meantime, has been summoned, but not for very long, as we focus him down with all the range after dropping Flensing Har upon him, which is the spell that reduces armor as well as missile block chance. And with Krell out of the picture, the balance of power has shifted to about 80% in our favor. And then we simply focus KEMMLER himself down as well. With the enemy Ghosts, Crypt Hulks, and Lord and Hero gone, it looks like this enemy army has pretty much failed. They do still have the SFO unit Spellbreakers, these skeletons with Disruption on them. Disruption and Bleed. But alas for the enemy, that's just plain not going to be enough. Especially as the Sea Guard hold them back as an anvil, and we crash our Illyrian Reavers into their back lines. Popping off those morale shocks and starting those Spellbreakers into their disintegration. Alright, not much to say about this, just waiting out the clock on these guys, and it looks like it paid off with the reinforcements, as they are so slow and have only crossed about half the distance to get to us, which is once again why we positioned all the way on this side of the map. A vampire moves towards him, but, well, towards us. Mathland Spite brings it down to 23 speed. Shield Breaker and Banish reduce its missile resistance and its, or physical resistance, and its missile block chance, and we quickly bring the Vampirus down. Well, lovely. Just isolated units remaining of KEMMLER's main host, and the reinforcements still very slowly moving towards us. But by the looks of it, the strategy paid off nicely. Ooh, it does look like one unit of bats does reach us, however, so we're going to move some units in to help out. Unfortunately for them, they decide to go for the Lothran Sea Guard. The Shore Watchers at 81 melee defense. Their melee attack and such, and their missile strength may be relatively low, but this is not a good matchup for the bats, because the bats themselves have a very high melee defense and very low attack. And so while they can tie up a unit of Lothran Sea Guard, they're not going to do any real damage to them. Much better off going after the archers. Now, there are a few enemy units left, and what we're going to do is annoy them and surround them with our cavalry. Here's an isolated unit of a regular Graveguard with sword and board, and we're going to hit them from two sides simultaneously with our Illyrian Reavers, which basically tear them to shreds, dropping them to about 50% and starting them to melt away. Our range units will ignore the sword and borders, and instead target the great weapons and the halberds so that their missiles aren't blocked, and quickly tear them to shreds as well. And now it looks like army losses have begun to tell. The enemy army all begin disintegrating, and this battle is ours in moments. Just got to wait out the clock. And the great weapons are done. Switch to the sword and board. I like how the Graveguard's balefire glowing eyes go out as it collapses. There we go. There's nothing they can reach, nothing they can catch anymore. Poor slow units. There we go. Close victory, perhaps. We did use a lot of ammunition, and admittedly, it was dicey here when they did reach us, but nonetheless, we pull it off quite soundly, I think. Alrighty, there we go. A close victory, but I was about to say, we got only 6 losses, but make no mistake, it was a close victory. It was a great showcase of a battle that was 100% absolutely about positioning, as we were able to separate the enemy army by taking advantage of the fact that undead are extremely slow, so their reinforcements could not get there in time, while we irritated Heinrich KEMMLER's main host into attacking us. Then, the critical aspect of this being the fact that we have no magical damage, meant that we had to focus down the Cairn rates and the Hex rates before they could do anything. So the combination of slowing them down with our Mist Mage and then hitting them with anti-large arrows from our Reaver Archers plus anti-large arrows from the units of Sea Guard allowed us to carry the day there. Speaking of the Sea Guard, looks like Mathlands Patrollers with 17k, 18k on Tide's Piercing Breach carry the day. 23 and 15k damage on the Exalted Illyrian Reavers, which is pretty impressive as they outdamaged the 2 units of Exalted Illyrian Reaver Archers, and just by virtue of, well, actually surprisingly, because these guys use their range attacks and their melee attacks, but yeah, overall an impressive bout against KEMMLER that sees his main stag destroyed and Bordelot captured, thanks to superior elven tactics. Alrighty, and while the turn is ending, give me a oh, we got Mad's map. While the turn is ending, 1 second, I gotta move my cat. Alrighty, and convoy encounter allied fleet. Oh wow, I was not expecting that, but more units will allow the convoy to travel further, and I'm gonna say we're gonna take the White Lions again. This army has actually a pretty decent ranged line, and the additional melee units would work out nicely. So Sword Brothers, and there it is, the invocation of Asuryan, and that actually worked out perfectly. Just enough time to kill Bellicor and take out Albion. We're not going to take the Sword of Khaine Thriving, just because the upkeep reduction and -5 control and diplomatic relations could perhaps screw us and prevent us from getting additional allied units and other fun stuff earlier, so we'll return it. We can always draw it again as needed. And there we go. Still have the Confederation debuff, but ready to counteract it with a nice... Okay, KEMMLER's got a decent defeat. Huh! Now that's interesting. Enemy wins a magic power reserve capacity -25. If we are wondering why that's interesting, some of our heroes... I don't know if we have any here. Some of our heroes have a trait that is, and maybe even lords, a trait that is hello. Conscientious Noble. Yes, I remember these guys. I remember trying to get as many of them as physically possible, because look at this. These guys are influencers, as in we use them to gather influence, and yes, we'll get you, Noble, up and running immediately. You're gonna go gather influence from other factions, and at the same time... do you need specialists? Does secure influence have a chance, or is it always 100%? I have no idea. Oh, this frickin' guy. Okay, go out to sea. Oh. Can you not go out to sea?
Resting a
I guess I'll have to find out later. Okay, well, we'll leave that alone. Anyway, there's a trait that is minus 30 enemy Winds of Magic power reserve, and I think Trickster Shards are also minus enemy Winds of Magic power reserve. So in theory, in combining this trait and certain hero traits and items, we could basically completely nullify certain armies' Winds of Magic, which could be pretty interesting. I'm going to keep this in mind. I didn't realize that KEMMLER had this. I certainly want to put it to use. And hello! Wellity. I would love to attack these guys. Alistair and Coriel could actually work together to bring down those giants, but alas, they're going to have to do so in the next episode. Oh, the Corsairs of Spite died. I was going to try to get friendly with them, but anyway. Sarah, Seakelm ready for duty. Growth and income from ports, good. Negative growth in Caranthel, and another unusual location. Come on, Ogre Camp. Lost Dwarf Mine Shaft. So the problem with this one, I wish we had gotten it, wait, this is the mine shaft. This is not the, Transfer message trigger, no. I don't remember what this one actually does. Damn it. There's another one where the dwarfs build your stuff up, but I don't think this is it. I think this is a different one. I guess we'll find out, together with the Egg Street Pawn Shop and whatever. Either way, as I was saying, we're out of time, and I am going to call this particular episode here. Go for the homestead here, please. As we are out of time. Next time, we'll attack the orcs, we'll attack more orcs, we'll attack undead, and whatever Tyrion runs into, as well as Albion has now been conquered. Though we do got to make sure that we send somebody to defend it. And begin once again using it as a staging ground for Norska, which is a lot of green territory for us, though admittedly, by the looks of it, the Orthodoxy is moving up there. Frankly, if the Empire can win here, they'll probably do decently well, and I'm sure will be a big help if we knock out the undead for them. Gotta get Marienburg before they do, because if we can hold all the great ports, with the probable exception of Erengrad and, not Daicheng, and not Beichai, and Fuchao here, we get even more trade coming in, which will be good. TM. Also, before I forget, let's immediately pop the Invocation of Asuryan off, getting more control, more influence, and construction time reduction. For 10 turns, but we'll certainly look to put it to good use. Anyway, as I was saying, we're out of time, and I'm calling it here. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. Maybe we'll do another double episode, or at the very least, the engagement will determine how long we keep doing long episodes for, so if you're enjoying them, yada yada yada, all glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.